Today we're into Standard to put Roaming Throne on Horse? Want to help out the channel? Well, you can snag these super sweet new dice, playmats tokens, and more over at MTGGoldfishmerch.com. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and today we're trying to combo off with Guardian Sunmare, and I gotta say, this is one of the most beautifully built decks that I have seen in all Tarkir Dragonstorm Standard. I look through a lot of deck lists, and every once in a while, a deck just kind of blows my mind with how perfectly it was built, and this is one of those decks. This deck is a work of art. It's built around a super janky card. It does something really cool. I am really excited to play this deck, so let's talk about Guardian Sunmare combo, what it's trying to do, jump into some games, and see if we can actually pull off the combo. So we're built around Guardian Sunmare, an Ether Drift rare that's a 5-mana 5/5 force mount with Ward 2 in Saddle 4 that says when it attacks while saddled, we just search our library for a non-land permanent with mana value 3 or less, put it on the battlefield, and then shuffle. So the goal of our deck is to get a board state where we can attack with a Guardian Sunmare a single time and win the game. At least that's the most spectacular thing our deck does. We can also use Sunmare for value and just 2-drop removal, disruption, or whatever if we're not going to win the game right away. But really, we're trying to set up a one-shot kill with this card. So how do we one-shot kill with Guardian Sunmare? The answer is we need Roaming Throne. Hilariously, the most important synergy in our deck is putting Roaming Throne on Horse, which blows my mind that that's something we're doing in Standard. But if you don't know Roaming Throne from Commander, you choose a creature type, it has Ward 2, and then if a ability would trigger of a creature of that type, it triggers an additional time. So if we put Roaming Throne on Horse, it does two things. First, it double triggers the Ward on Guardian Sunmare, and honestly, the fact that Roaming Throne has Ward 2, and then Guardian Sunmare has Ward 2, which will be Ward 4 if we have a Roaming Throne, really key to this deck working, because that means our opponent can't just go for the throw, or this down ain't big enough, or whatever removal spell they have to deal with our combo pieces. More importantly, if we Roaming Throne on Horse, we can tap the Roaming Throne to saddle up the Guardian Sunmare, and when we attack, it'll double trigger, and this is what lets us one-shot kill. So the one-shot kill combo, Roaming Throne, saddle up the Sunmare, attack, we tutor up Twin Blade Blessing to give the Guardian Sunmare double strike, and then with the second trigger, we get Draconic Destiny for +1/+1 flying and fire breathing. Then we can just dump the rest of our mana into pumping the Sunmare up to 10 power with Draconic Destiny, and then hit our opponent for 20 all in one shot, win the game on the spot. So that's the one shot kill that we're trying to set up. If we can't completely kill for whatever reason, we got a couple other auras. We can grab Unflinching Courage, really good with Twin Blade Blessing. And let's say we can't kill our opponent on the spot, we can get Double Strike and then Trample and Lifelink and +2/+2. That means we hit our opponent for 14, gain back 14 life. Sheltered by Ghosts, kind of like Unflinching Courage, it gives us life gain, plus it gives us some removal. So that's kind of the core of the deck. In the rest of this deck, pretty much every single card is somehow supporting this plan. So we got Nature's Rhythm to find our combo pieces. This is essentially just more copies of Guardian Sunmare, of our Roaming Throne. And part of the power of this card is thanks to Harmonize, a single Nature's Rhythm can potentially get us both combo pieces. We can cast it to get the Roaming Throne, next turn tap the Roaming Throne for Harmonize, get the Horse, go on to combo off and win the game. We also have a bunch of ways to ramp into our Guardian Sunmare. So Land of Werewolves, Lumbering Worldwig, and Outcaster Trailblazer. With our best draws, we can like turn 1 Land of War, turn 2 Lumbering Worldwagon, turn 3 Sunmare, turn 4 Roaming Throne, saddle it up, get in. Not quite enough mana to win the game with that line, but hit our opponent for like 16 or something absurd and virtually win the game. Outcaster Trailblazer, also a cute backup with Roaming Throne. Like if we don't have the Horse, we can put Roaming Throne on Druid, and then our Outcaster Trailblazer will double trigger when we play it to make 2 mana, and double trigger when a big creature enters to draw us 2 cards. So if we don't have the Horse, that's a way we can draw into the Horse. Then we have a bunch of ways to stay alive and protect the combo. So Invasion of Gobakon, great in this deck. We can play it early to get something out of our opponent's hand, make sure the course is clear for our Horse to get in and win the game, or we can tutor it up with the Horse if we need to. Anointed Peacekeeper, kind of similar, but on a creature. Soul Partition, mostly removal, but we do sometimes use it to save our Roaming Throne or save a Sunmare from removal spell. And then Temporary Lockdown, already insane against Aggro, doubly so in our deck because it's a permanent that we can tutor up with our Guardian Sunmare. So sometimes if we're against mice or aggro, we just get in, even without the roaming throne, use some random thing to saddle up the Sunmare and just get the temporary lockdown to wrath our opponent's board. As far as the mana base, pretty typical, 1 cavern to protect against counters. And in the sideboard, even most of the sideboard is designed to support the combo. Enduring Courage gives us a way to hasten our Sunmare and removal heavy matchups. A Pornoculus, we can't even cast it. I guess theoretically we could put our 1 cavern on I, but really we can't even cast it, but it's just to tutor up with our Guardian Sunmare to make a big board. Rest in Peace, kind of like temporary lockdown. It's good anyway against graveyard decks, even better in our deck since we can find it with Sunmare. Stonebrain for combo pieces, Lauren to deal with artifacts and enchantments, another temporary lockdown, and then some stuff that doesn't directly work with the combo, but Obstinate Baloth for discard, Soul Partition, Rise End for more removal, and that is Guardian Sunmare combo, and that's our deck for today. So let's jump into some games and see if we can actually pull off this super sweet combo. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Need some Magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/MTGGoldfish. It is Guardian Sunmare combo time. That's right, we are trying to win in Standard by putting Roaming Throne on horse, and I mean, this hand's not fast, but we technically have the combo, Roaming Throne and Guardian Sunmare. Opponent, Golgari, okay, that's good, that's good. Our hand's not very quick because we don't have any ramp, but Golgari is also not the fastest deck usually, so we might be fine. If we're up against like mono red or we'd probably be in trouble, but well, land go. Hopefully we can just make our land drops, play our combo pieces. Opponent, Mosswood Dread Knight, and another land, sure. Now let's play the land and pass the turn. 3 with the Dread Knight, sure, and Debris Beetle, okay, little vehicle rhino action. We might actually just bounce that. Yeah, let's Soul Partition it. That's gonna save us a little bit of damage. We kind of like, we have the full combo, so we just want to buy time and make sure we don't die. Let's get down Roaming Throne on horse, of course. The ward is really huge. Like, our opponent's Golgari. They're probably playing Go for the Throat. They can't go for the Roaming Throne anyway. And then Guardian Sunmare, with the Roaming Throne out, is going to have double Ward 2, so Ward 4, which means it's going to be tricky for our opponent to kill. And that's really essential to make the combo work. I don't think the combo would work without the wards. I think stuff would just die too much. Well, let's play the Guardian Sunmare. In theory, we just win the game next turn with a single Guardian Sunmare attack. No. You don't want to go for the Throat it. You see him hover in the Sunmare. I swear like half of opponents do this the first time. Nope, there's another ward on there. Teaching Arena Zoomers about ward. That's a really easy mistake to me. I've made that same mistake in the past. Like, Roaming Throne double triggering ward, not the most intuitive thing. You don't really think of that. Like, when I think of Panharmonicons, I'm thinking ETB triggers or attack triggers. I'm not usually thinking about ward, but it works. Debris Beetle for our opponent. Oh, wait, can we still win? So wait, 5 power, 6 power, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think we can hit our opponent for 24 here. The Debris Beetle is just enough to keep our opponent alive. Well, okay, since we can't actually win, I guess we'll just like gain a ridiculous amount of life and hit our opponent for a bunch. Let's Unflinching Courage. I think we still do the combo. So the main combo of the deck, you get down the Guardian Sunmare with the Roaming Throne. Unflinching Courage is just kind of a nice bonus. Then we saddle up the Guardian Sunmare with the Roaming Throne, of all things. I don't know how this works in practice, but I guess the Roaming Throne is riding the Guardian Sunmare. We get 2 triggers. Trigger number 1, we get Draconic Destiny for flying and also some pumping. We grab a little bit of a double strike action here, Twin Blade Blessing. So now we hit our opponent 8, 9, 10, 11. So we hit him for 22 here. Well, that was shockingly easy. The deck is so, it's so sweet. This deck's just like beautifully built. It's such a good brew. Like, whoever made this, shout out to you. I don't think we have a ton of sideboard. I guess we just go down the lockdowns mostly, and I guess go up Soul Partition, maybe even Enduring Courage. Enduring Courage is not as good as you'd think. Like, it's nice that we can hasten our stuff to get around removal. The problem is, though, We still need something to saddle the Sunmare, so it doesn't just win right away. But yeah, let's try it like that. All right, on to game number 2. Golgari versus Guardian Sunmare combo. This hand, all right. I mean, no roaming throne, but there goes our lumbering world wagon. But we can ramp into Sunmare at least. Ooh, all right. Double Trailblazer. Outcaster Trailblazer is such a funny card. Like, sometimes it doesn't do much of anything, and then sometimes you draw 2 of them, and it just, like, pops off and draws a ton of cards. Opponent gonna draw with the Mosswood Red Knight. Well, pass the turn. Opponent land and, ooh, a lumbering world wagon of their own. Okay, that's a little scary. I feel like lumbering world wagon is still kind of an underrated card. The ramp is good, and it actually is just like huge. I guess having crew 4 is kind of a lot, but all right, opponent, what do we got? Mosswood Red Knight, sure. They can't actually crew unless they have another creature. Wow, okay, that's fortunate. Well, yeah, let's just keep plotting, I think. Yeah, let's plot it. We're gonna plot, set up for a big Outcaster Trailblazer turn in the future with 2 of them plotted. So next turn we can do like double Trailblazer into Sunmare, double Trailblazer into Tutor Up. Wow, all right, opponent, Soulstorm Sanctuary. Turns it on. Lumbering World Wagon gonna get in and ramp and hit us for 7. See, it just hits for so much damage. So, ooh, Soul Partition. That's not bad. Well, let's Trailblazer. And Trailblazer. Number 2, draw a card, make a mana. Oh, there's a roaming throne too. Oh, that's actually kind of excellent. Yeah, let's play the Sunmare. This sets us up to maybe win next turn. And we have 2 lands. And we have Soul Partition for a little defense here. Go for the throat on the Sunmare. Do we want a Soul Partition? Yeah, let's save it. I think it's worth it. The only downside of this is it does mean that our opponent can smack us again with a Lumbering World Wagon. We might have to trade off a Trailblazer here. I guess they could also just attack with their Soulstone Sanctuary and their Mosswood Red Knight. That might even be better for our opponent, come to think of it. All right, go for the throat. Well, we're running our opponent out of cards. That's good. Here comes the World Wagon. Yeah, I mean, that's just too much damage. I think we got to trade here. Trade it off. Well, there's our World Wagon. Well, let's play the Sunmare again. We really just want 1 attack with this roaming thrown out. That's all we need, opponent. Creature land and, ooh, passes. All right, well, oh my goodness. Okay. And we draw the Draconic Destiny at the least opportune time. This has been a hilarious matchup because game 1 we couldn't one-shot because they gained life with Debris Beetle. And now we draw the Draconic Destiny the turn before we go for the win. I mean, this is still absurd. It's still great. They could have another removal spell. I mean, even without Draconic Destiny, though, double Guardian Sunmare trigger is so good. Well, all right. We get in the attack. The question is, what do we want? Now it's not actually clear without their Draconic Destiny. We get some disruption, like Anointed Peacekeeper, do a hand check. Could get 2 Outcaster Trailblazers to draw some cards. I think we want a Paw Patch Formation. Okay, that's actually good to know about. We're just going to name Go for the Throat. So this does mean that our opponent can blow up an enchantment. So if we went for the combo, they would have been able to stop it anyway. Now we'll get the Unflinching Courage. Put it on the Sunmare. Our opponent can kill it. Not the Sunmare, but they can kill the Unflinching Courage if they want to. And then they could double block. I feel like that's still fine though, because we have a way to tutor up another Sunmare anyway. I can't believe we drew the Draconic Destiny. that is just the worst timing for the one opponent. Paw Patch Formation gets rid of the Unflinching Courage, and yeah, gonna double block. Sure. Well, horse down for now. Let's play the World Wagon. Do a little ramping. So with this deck, once we get double white for Sunmare, we mostly just want to tutor out green mana for the flashback, well, harmonize of a Nature's Resurgence. Pound it. All right, sure. That's actually fine. We kind of would rather have that We'd kind of rather have Nature's Rhythm in the graveyard. Ooh. All right, Archfiend of the Dross and the Mosswood Dread Knight. Ooh, but that's a soul partition. So we can Nature's Resurgence, get another horse. So I guess we probably win next turn, hopefully. Nature's Resurgence from the graveyard, get another Guardian Sunmare. Crew up the Lumbering World Wagon. See if our opponent wants to trade. I guess it doesn't really matter either way. Wow, it's our last land, our last basic. We still got non-basics. All right, just gonna block with the Dread Knight. I guess that makes sense, because then they can always cast it from the graveyard anyway. Opponent. I mean, they need something good. This Archfiend is not going to save them. Opponent. Mosswood Dread Knight draws a card, down to 17. Getting in. Yeah, let's just bounce it. I think we win through. If our opponent spends their mana to recast it, I'm pretty sure we just win. Yeah, because now they're definitely not going to be able to kill the Sunmare. All right, Mosswood Dread Knight. Now we can just play their Draconic Destiny. We have so much mana, so I think this should just do it, right? So Draconic Destiny on the Sunmare. And, yeah, saddle it up. I don't know how a roaming throne rides a Guardian Sunmare, but we don't ask too many questions. Let's get in with the Sunmare. Trigger it. Snag us a Sheltered by Ghosts to get rid of the Archfiend of the Dross. And now we'll grab a little bit of double strike here. Put the Twin Blade Blessing on the Sunmare and do a little pumping. And that's the combo we want. That's the combo. And opponent, pretty sure they're thank you, opponent. That is, it is a pretty sweet kill. And opponent down to 8 and double strike and dead. And that's what Guardian Sunmare wants to do. Hey, it worked that time. We're going to try this. We'll see. 2 temporary lockdowns means this hand is going to be very matchup dependent. If we're up against the right deck, 2 temporary lockdowns is probably about what we want more than anything. If it's like, is it, or some sort of aggro deck. On the other hand, if we're up against control or domain overlords, this is almost like we have no cards in hand. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll keep an Outcaster Trailblazer. Some potential card draw. Ooh, all right. Opponent, Rakdos with Cacophony Scamp. Well, that means our temporary lockdown should be good. We're going to play the Llanowar Elf. Although we might just be throwing it into a temporary lockdown. We'll see. We'll see. Emberheart Challenger. All right, opponent, get in. Well, down to 17. Ooh, all right. How greedy are we? Let's get one Llanowar Elf. Yeah, let's play it safe. We'll just play temporary lockdown. I feel like there's almost an argument to playing the Anointed Peacekeeper, doing a hand check. I guess we probably should have blocked with the Elf last turn. That was kind of silly to take the damage. The most we played the Elf, didn't block with it, and then just temporary lockdown it. Yeah, that was probably not the best use of a Llanowar Elf. Opponent. Manifold Mouse. Okay, I'm glad we temporary lockdown because we might just die this turn if we didn't. Manifold Mouse is so scary. Well, now we will Anointed Peacekeeper. Callous Hellswarf, Monstrous Rage, Turn Inside Out, Desperate Maneuvers. Well, we're gonna name Monstrous Rage. That is a pretty good hand though. Well, okay. Another useless Llanowar Elves. We really need to find our Guardian Sunmare. And we still need a roaming throne too. Opponent goes combat, Manifold Mouse. They can still cast it. Like it's such a ridiculously hard position to be in against these decks. We even know they have the pump spell, but it's like, do we not block and then we just take 1,000,000 damage? If we block, we know they can blow us out anyway. Blocking is just like so useless. I don't know if he was actually more useful than the Llanowar Elves, come to think of it. I guess we had to look at our opponent's hand, and we did soak up. I mean, we didn't die. Huh? Desperate. Oh, are they going to go Fling? Desperate Maneuvers. I think we're kind of okay with this. Like, if our opponent's plan is just a Callous Sellsword Fling for like 7, because they can't cast the Monstrous Rage, right? That's not bad at all. So we take 5. Our opponent does get to draw 2 cards, and they turn Inside Out. Okay. Opponent's down to 3 cards, only has a manifest on the battlefield. Awkwardly, yeah, let's play this Trailblazer for the future. I do feel like we kind of need a temporary lockdown. That's how scary this matchup is. We need to temporary lockdown to get rid of a single manifest, because if we don't, we might just die next turn to a monstrous rage, plus whatever else is in our opponent's hand. It was a ley line. Well, I'm glad that's not on the battlefield. All right, opponent. What are we doing? Callous Sellsword, sure. And... all right, we need some action deck. Please, give us... well, Lumbering World Wagon is better than nothing. Not as good as drawing a Sunmare or something, but at least it is a magic card that does a thing, which is getting us a forest. We can also use it on defense, too. Might let us keep our Outcaster Trailblazer alive. We'd really love to draw something that would trigger the Trailblazer. That would be the best. Like a Guardian Sunmare or a Roaming Throne. Roaming Throne's really good because we can Roaming Throne on Druid or Human to double trigger the Trailblazer and draw 2. Well, crew up the World Wagon. Get in front of the Callous Sellsword. We know they can Monstrous Rage. Yeah, opponent, Monstrous Rage. Desperate Maneuvers. Yeah, well, we take a couple down to 10. Get rid of the Sellsword. Opponent draws 2 more cards. Desperate Maneuver seems pretty good. It adds a new element to these like Rakdos mouse decks, right? Like before the decks, they were so fast, but they'd run out of cards sometimes. Like if you could get through the initial rush, then, oh boy, even more lands. Yeah, we're not running especially well this game. But if you could get through the initial rush, you could stabilize. It seems like Desperate Maneuvers makes that a little bit tougher because now they actually, oh god, that's a ley line. Now they can actually draw cards too. And a Manifold Mouse. I feel like we might be nearing death. Opponent gets in. We're going to take it down to 7. Okay, Roaming Throne. Well, as much as we want Roaming Throne on horse, yeah, we got to do it. We got to do it. Roaming Throne on horse, we got to just set up for the potential combo kill. It's tempting to put it on human just to draw 2 there, but I think that the way we win this game is not generating value. It's getting lucky and one-shot killing because they have the ley line and the Manifold Mouse. We're probably dead this turn. Like, we need things to go well if we're going to get out of this. Turn inside out. Yeah, sure. And it's not like we have a ton of interaction we can draw into, especially since we already have 2 of our temporary lockdowns on the battlefield. Oh, all right. Well, they drew a lot of Callous Sellswords, fling it at our face, and our opponent didn't even need to attack. Well, that was kind of brutal. Well, let's bring in as much removal as possible. Go down some of the slow stuff, right like that. As good as Invasion of Gabakhan is in this deck, I don't think it's really worth it against a ley line deck. This hand seems fine. Turn 1 Land War into World Wagon. Oh, okay. Well, we have Shelter by Ghosts in hand. We might have to spend it to get rid of this turn 0 ley line. It has to be the scariest card that you can see on the first turn of a game in Standard. Whenever your opponent starts with Leyline or Resonance, it just feels like you're going to lose. Well, as much as I'd like to do some ramping here, and as much as I'd rather put Shelter by Ghosts on something other than on Llanowar Elves, I think we have to just Shelter by Ghosts, get rid of the Leyline. All right, Cacophony Scamp. We can't really block, or we just give them back their Leyline. Although, unfortunately, the Scamp... Yeah, let's get down the Lumbering World Wagon. The Scamp is an issue. They actually can use it to kill the Llanowar. We'll see if they do it. But they can attack. If we block, they get back their Leyline. If we don't block, it's going to make them skip their turn, essentially. I guess that's fine. Well, let's see if they do it. So they hit us with both. All right, they can sack the Scamp, go at the Llanowar. They do have to pay the Ward of 2. This actually works out pretty well for us, though. Now that we drew the Soul Partition, so our opponent gets back the Leyline. Very frightening. But now we can just Soul Partition it, and they should never be able to recast it. Let's play the Outcaster Trailblazer. Mega Mana. Soul Partition the Leyline. So now our opponent has to get to 6 mana if they want to cast it. And, I mean, smack you with the World Wagon. Hit you for 6, get another forest. Hell, okay, this is not going, I mean, it's going as well as it can against this deck. It feels like it's going well. That doesn't mean we won't just die this turn, because that's how these decks, oh boy, Monstrous Rage, because that's how these decks work. We could just die at any moment, but it feels like it's going well-ish. At least there's not a lane line opponent. Getting in with the big mouse hits us down to 11. Nature's Rhythm would be a good draw. And another Scamp. Oh, well, World Wagon, as much as I love World Wagon, not the best on defense, and we kind of need defense right now. World Wagon number 2, yeah, I mean, I think we're going to stay aggro. Get in, hit ya. I mean, blocking doesn't do anything anyway, right? Like, because of all the Monstrous Rage effects, blocking doesn't really do anything. So I think it makes the most sense to just try to kill our opponent rather than be like, oh, we're going to sit back and try to block with our Lumbering World Wagon. Because the odds of that working are just so low against these decks. So opponent chumps, pings us for 1 down to 10. Are we dead? Opponent. Ooh, Emberheart Challenger. Sure. Turn inside out. 7, 8, wow. Yep. Looks like 10 to me. Ah, well, just mice things. Apparently mice better than horses. Who would have thought? Seeing if we can win with a Roaming Throne on horse. And this hand, it's fine. Little ramp Roaming Throne, temporary lockdown, maybe the most important card in Standard. Not good in every matchup, but in the matchups where it matters, it is like the only card that saves you. Well, let's see what our opponent's up to. What are we up to, opponent? Demir A. All right, probably some sort of bounce deck. Well, get in, hit you. Ship the turn. Opponent, land, and Rona. Okay. I don't know what our opponent's up to. Well, let's Roaming Throne. On horse, of course, of course. I'm pretty sure that's Mr. Ed, right? I vaguely remember this show with a talking horse from like being in my grandmother's house or something when I was a little kid. Speaking of things I watched in my grandmother's house as a little kid. Does anyone watch Benji the Hunted? Oh my God, that is the worst movie of all time. Even as a small child. Oh, that movie. Let's Nature's Rhythm. Get Anointed Peacekeeper, do a little hand check. We mostly just want to get Nature's Rhythm in the graveyard so we can get our Crested Sunmare next turn. Opponent. Removal, Oil Deep, Fangkeeper's familiar. Another Rona. Well, I think we just tax the Bitter Triumph. Cool to see someone playing Sultai. I would like to see more of the wedge decks from Tarkir actually take off in Standard. I know Jeskai Control is sort of doing it. But I remember last time we were at Tarkir, we had like Jeskai versus Abzan versus Sultai. We haven't really seen that. Opponent lose away the Rona. Well, our opponent, they don't know this. Oil Deep Gearhawk. Looking at our very bad hand. I don't even know if they take the temporary lockdown. It might be better to just let us keep it. Yeah, opponent doesn't want to give us a new card. Our opponent doesn't know it yet, but they are dead in 2 turns. I don't think our board looks that scary, especially with the Oil Deep down. Our opponent's probably thinking they're doing well, but here comes the Crested Sunmare, Harmonize, Nature's Rhythm. Snag us our horse with the double ward and the tax on the Bitter Triumph. Opponent's probably going to need a top deck to get out of this. They need to draw like a Wrath or something. Maybe Guardian Sunmare is actually good. It might actually be good. Opponent lose with a Rona. The ward is so important. I think I mentioned this before, but this deck would not work if it wasn't for the ward cost. Like, the wards are really essential. Opponent, land and passing. And all right. Looks like death to me. Do a little hand check. Just make sure no shenanigans are going on. I mean, we'd rather do it now than during oh, okay. Fangkeeper's familiar. That is fine. Run it out and, all right, surveil and gain some life. I mean, we can deal 18 here, so that does not matter. Well, it's combo time. This might be our cleanest combo yet. This is what, just turn 5 one shot from 18. We'll take the Bitter Triumph. Keep on taxing. And all right, well, saddle up the Guardian Sunmare with the Roaming Throne and go to combat. Get in with the Guardian Sunmare, ridden by the Roaming Throne, trigger it twice, and now we turn it into a dragon. Dragon. So we have a dragon horse being ridden by whatever a roaming throne is. And now it's got the twin blade blessing for double strike. And do a little pumpage. And, well, that's how you one-shot with Guardian Sunmare. And this is against a removal deck, too. Like, we have enough taxing effects that the Bitter Triumph couldn't disrupt us enough ward in our opponent. Gonna take an 18 spot to the face. And honestly, we could have dealt, what, 4 more if we needed to. And that is the power of Guardian Sunmare of all things. Guardian Sunmare is such a cool card. I wasn't expecting it to actually be a combo deck, though. Let's bring in the Enduring Courages. The haste seems nice. And then maybe the Soul Partitions. Temporary Lockdown does not look good. That's usually a good sign, right? Like, when your opponent sees a card with Oil Deep and is like, yeah, just keep that in your hand. Probably not the best in the matchup. This hand, kind of sketchy. This hand, also kind of sketchy. But at least we have Nature's Rhythm. Nature's Rhythm is actually kind of key to this deck working too. This deck is just a beautifully built deck. I don't know how good it is, like as far as level of competitiveness, but it is just so well put together for what it is. Like, if I was building against the odds Guardian Sunmare, I would hope that this is what I ended up with. Something very close to this. So whoever put this together, shout out to you, because it is very well done. Ooh, all right. I do like double Outcaster Trailblazer. Sometimes you just draw 2 Outcaster Trailblazers and draw a lot of cards and win the game. Although, unfortunately, I feel like we might be about to get Oil Deeped. A little bit deep in the oil. Yeah, there's Oil Deep here, Hulk. Well, you probably take the Trailblazer, right? Ew, another land. Enduring Courage, although our mana is not great for making double red. I mean, we make double red next turn, so I guess this turn we're just... I guess we can Outcast our Trailblazer, make a mana, and use that to get down the Enduring Courage. Sadly, we don't get to draw a card off of it, but we get a couple bodies down, and now we see if we can Nature's Rhythm our way into some combo pieces. Enduring Courage is really interesting in this deck. So it seems like it should be busted, right? Because we get to haste in our Guardian Sunmare, but it's not quite as good as you think because we still need to saddle it. Opponent, Corpses of the Lost. You still need to saddle it to get the value out of it. Yeah, I guess we'll just trade. I actually kind of don't mind this being an enchantment. I feel like they might be able to exile it as a creature, but as an enchantment, they're probably not going to be able to deal with it. Opponent does get to pick it back up, unfortunately. Awkward. Well, I guess we just Nature's Rhythm for 3. The question is, do we get another Outcaster Trailblazer or do we get a Anointed Peacekeeper? It should set us up to get a horse next turn. Although we know they have the removal. This is going to be interesting. This is not going to go as easy as game 1. Game 1 was about as smooth as the combo goes. This one we might have to work for. Yeah, let's get a Trailblazer so we draw some cards. All right, Lumbering Worldwagon's not the worst. Lumbering Worldwagon actually has very much impressed me. Let's actually see if we can flip this Gabakon. That's a good way that we can protect our horse in the future. That's why Gabakon, like we do cut it sometimes, but in this deck, it's so good at protecting our combo that even in matchups where you traditionally wouldn't play Gabakon, it's sometimes worth leaving in a copy. Plus we can tutor it up with the Sunmare, which makes it a little bit better as well. Bitter Triumph. You know what? Let's just cash it in. Bonnet land and Tiny Bones. Tiny Bones. So opponent's a skeleton deck, essentially. It's in. Hits us. Well, the Death Touchers. Man, even more lands. So many lands. So this is an example of Enduring Courage being a little awkward. Like, we can Nature's Rhythm out the horse, but we don't have a way to saddle it. So while we're gonna do it, it's not like we just get to win the game right here or anything. We can't even really attack with it because of the Tiny Bones. Oh, even more lands. All right, well, play the land and yeah, Tiny Bones. Yeah, I mean, I guess sure, you can steal our stuff. This is where Tiny Bone's actually gonna be pretty good. We don't want to trade our stuff because it's too good. And we also have good stuff in our graveyards. Now our opponent gets an Outcaster Trailblazer. We still might be okay though. Tap land. Another Lumbering Worldwagon. Also awkward, Enduring Courage doesn't haste up the Worldwagons. let's get in with the Sunmare. We don't want our opponent to trade. It might be sheltered by ghosts. Let's see what the other options are. So we could get flying and just chip in for some damage. We can't get unflinching courage, right? They can still trade. Shelter by ghost is kind of cute because we can put the Trailblazer under it, and then if they kill the Sunmare, the Sheltered by Ghost will get the Trailblazer back. Plus we'll gain a bunch of life. And we get another ward, which is good. Anything we can add to the ward on the Sunmare is going to be helpful. Yeah, I think that's the best we can do. Shelter by Ghost on the Sunmare. And, I mean, gain back 6. Opponent's going to skeleton jump? No. All right, opponent takes it down to 14. Well, let's get lumbering. Might as well thin our deck a bit. Lumbering World Wagon, snag us a forest, and Lumbering World Wagon. Snag us a forest, and cavern on really doesn't matter, I guess horse, and pass turn. So our opponent can get in with the Tiny Bones again, although they might want to leave it on defense. Like, Tiny Bones Death Touch on defense, it's kind of tough. Our opponent wants the value, and I can respect that. Like, how do you pass up a free Trailblazer or whatever from your opponent's graveyard? On the other hand, if they just leave back Tiny Bones, it does make us... It makes attacking more awkward, although I guess they know we have Draconic Destiny. We can always just get the Destiny, so maybe there's no point in trying to play defense with a ground creature. Opponent, Tiny Bones. Going for our Outcaster Trailblazer number 2. Usually you do not see Tiny Bones pop off like this. This has been about as good as I've seen Tiny Bones be. Opponent. Curse Cloth Wrappings. I forgot about that card. Wow, so many World Wagons. Well, saddle up the horse. See, this is a flavor fit. I think an Outcaster Trailblazer would probably ride a Guardian Sunmare. That actually kind of works. Yeah, let's get the Draconic Destiny, and this should just do it, right? We have an obscene amount of mana. 1, 2, up to 9 power. Wait, there we go. Yeah, up to 9 power, 10 power, 11 power. And our opponent's tapped out, so we don't got to worry about it. And, well, game 1, we got to see the full Roaming Throne combo. This game, we got to see just how Guardian Sunmare, over the course of a couple turns, the value adds up. The value adds up. Opponent's deck looks cool. I'm like to see the cards in our opponent's deck. It's cool to see the Curse Cloth Wrappings. It's cool to see Sultai. And they've been very nice. So shout out to you, opponent. Sorry, we had to Guardian Sunmare ya. Oh, sweet. It is Guardian Sunmare time. In this hand, we need to hit our lands, but technically, we have literally everything we want. Like, well, I guess we want ramp, and we don't have any ramp, but we have the full combo, we got removal, we got ways to protect the combo. Other than just making sure, I think we're going to mill Llanowar. Llanowar is too risky. Those are tough situations. Like, when you need the land, do you keep the Llanowar there? If it sticks, it's like hitting a land. Oh, Unflinching Courage, not the best. It's like hitting a land, but if it doesn't stick and your opponent kills it, then you're really sending yourself back. I feel like you got to mill it. Well, Invasion of Gabakhan. Gabakan's a good word. I like saying Gabakhan. We need more Gabakhan cards. What even plane is Gabakhan? What are we, spell piercing? All right, opponent. I'm gonna do a little spell piercing, sure. Gotta protect that Quarry Steel Cutter. I mean, oh, that is nice. Well, now we probably actually get a Llanowar Elves, because what else are we doing with our lives this turn? Yeah, Nature's Rhythm, get a Llanowar. Plus, it's funny, we kind of just like having Nature's Rhythm in the graveyard. It works well with our high power creatures. It actually sometimes is easier, cheaper, to tutor up a Sunmare or whatever from the graveyard. Opponent, spell number 1, Monastery Swiftspear. We need a white source. Spell number 2, Opt. I mean, the temporary lockdown hopefully will save us. This is the matchup that requires decks to play 4 temporary lockdowns in the main. Although we're only playing 3, but opponent hits us. All right, there's white source. You know what? Let's be a little greedy. Let's try to win the game. Guardian Sunmare. Maybe they 15 us here if they have like land, double monstrous rage or something, because we're not going to block with our Sunmare. If they don't kill us here, though, there's a pretty good chance that we Roaming Throne, and then I don't think we literally hit for 20 next turn because we won't have enough mana, but we will essentially put the game away next turn. Found it. Storm Taser Nail it. Makes a 1/1. There is a ward. Ooh, into the Floodmon. All right. Well, this is kind of fine. It means we're not going to win this turn. And we're going to take a pretty big smack here. Down to 7. Well, another land's fine. But now we get to temporary lockdown. Opponent only has 1 card in hand, so we might actually be in pretty good shape. Now our opponent's got nothing going on. Play the Lush Portico. We already got a roaming throne. We don't really need a second roaming throne. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have a bunch of burst light. Ooh, stock up. Well, opponent's gonna find something good. Stock up's so insane. Also, stock up's like $13 now. I was looking at Ether Drift. It is more expensive than every rare in Ether Drift, which is hilarious. There's a couple of mythics, like Ether Spark is slightly more expensive, but it's like, I think the 3rd most expensive card in the set, and the most expensive non-mythic. But it also sees just a ridiculous amount of play. About it. Storm Chaser's Talent. And Ren's Resolve. I mean, we should be good, right? Our opponent can't really interact, so we get to play Roaming Throne. I don't think we have enough mana to win, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we can hit for 18. We can hit for 18, but that's not lethal, so let's do it this way. Let's just unflinching courage. This way we'll gain a ridiculous amount of life, which should theoretically put the game out of reach. Like, even if we don't literally get our opponent's life total to 0, if we gain like 18 life here. So now we saddle it up with a roaming throne. Plus, our opponent has this town, but we do have the double ward. We might actually get a Peacekeeper, because we know they're gonna try to cast this town. We can get a Peacekeeper on this town and then double strike. So we'll gain what, like 14? Hit you for 14 and then make it really hard to cast this town. Obviously, if we could just straight up win here, we would, but we're like a mana short, basically, of being able to pump for lethal with the Draconic Destiny. I mean, that's part of the fun of this deck. It's almost like a toolbox deck in a weird way. Well, we're definitely getting the double strike. We know that. Yeah, let's snag the Peacekeeper. I think that's the plan. They have a stock up in Monstrous Rage. Don't really care about that. We just want to make this town hard to cast. Can they even cast it now? So it costs 2, but that's up to 4. Plus we have Ward 4 on the Sunmare. I guess they probably want to bounce. They could bounce the temporary lockdown. Yeah, let's see. Well, opponent down to 5. We go back up to 20, and we definitely have lethal next turn. And I don't think they can lethal us. Although, you never want to underestimate the amount of damage Is It Prowess can deal. I was watching the RC like a week ago, and there was definitely a game where the control player, they cast like 5 lightning helixes. We're at 23 life. Things were looking good, and just out of the blue, it was just like Corey Steelcutter, Monstrous Rage, Slick Shot, just died from like 23. And that's what this deck can do. I don't think this, oh no, opponent. Learning about the interaction of Roaming Throne and Guardian Sunmare, that ward triggers twice. You can't bounce the horse. Don't feel bad. Literally like half of people do that. It's okay, opponent. The first time that someone plays against this deck, almost half of our opponents, seriously, I think statistically, do not see the double ward synergy. It wouldn't have really mattered. If they went another direction, they would have just died anyway. So opponent, realizing what happened, and scoops it up. Against the best deck in Standard, taking him down with a horse. Not bad, not bad. Well, we will go down to Gobakon, go up some of the soul partitions. Maybe trim a Peacekeeper, and yeah, let's run it like that. It's fine-ish. A little bit worried about the matchup. We don't have a temporary lockdown or anything. This hand's like a pretty good, turn 3 ramp, turn 4 Sunmare. We'll see if that's fast enough against Prowess on the play. All right, we could probably do without the second World Wagon. Yeah, let's keep the Forest, I think. Although that's another card that's not early interaction, but oh boy. Slick Shot show off. Well, land and go. And I am fine with the stock up. As powerful as stock up is, there are some turns against the Prowess deck where you're kind of happy to see your opponent cast it, where you're like, okay, if the other option is you're like playing a Corey Steelcutter in a second spell and hitting me for a ton of damage, I'm okay with you just taking your turn to draw 2 cards. Like, they're 2 good cards. Ooh, that's temporary lockdown. There are some turns that kind of feel that way, and this is one of those turns. I'm just glad we're not getting pressured. Let's plot the Trailblazer. About it, land. I mean, they got to play the Slick Shot at some point, right? Storm Chaser, well, apparently not yet, because if you're going to play it, you do it before the Storm Chaser's talent. Makes a 1/1. Sleight of hand. Wouldn't it be worth playing the Slick Shot and hitting us for like 5 or 7 or something? Maybe they really want to leave a Spell Pierce mana? Do they have Negate out of the sideboard? What are they? Well, let's play the World Wagon. I mean, if you want to Spell Pierce it. We would kind of like the land, though. We do need all the mana we can get. Well, Lumbering World Wagon, snag a forest. The scary part is we might just die the turn they play Slick Shot. Like, we have the temporary lockdown in hand. As good as it is, it doesn't necessarily save us if our opponent can kill us all in one turn. So if they can just kill us all in one turn, might not be enough. Well, let's see what our opponent does. They haven't seemed especially interested in casting the Slick Shot, which is fine with me. The more turns you want to leave that plotted, the better. Steg really should not be working as well as it is. It looks so funny. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful, beautiful deck. But it seems like you shouldn't be winning with Guardian Sunmare in this standard, but it kind of works. About it. Slick Shot. Show off. This town ain't big enough to bounce the World Wagon. All right. Well, how much damage are we taking? Having the World Wagon bounce doesn't really matter. We didn't have any grand plans for a World Wagon. Storm Chaser's talent, sure. Oh, maybe this town is what our opponent was valuing leaving up. Oh, maybe they have 2 okay. Maybe they had a very this town heavy hand. That kind of makes sense. Opponent heads us to 8. I mean, we're going to outcast our Trailblazer. We are going to temporary lockdown here. If our opponent does have another this town, not as good as I would like it to be. Well, Trailblazer, trigger, and temporary lockdown. The ground creatures we can kind of block. Slick Shot's a little bit unique in the sense that it just kind of flies over. Thankfully, we haven't had to feast on a Corey Steelcutter yet. The deck is much fairer when they don't have Corey Steelcutter. Well, yeah, there's the this town number 2. Gonna bounce the Slick Shot. Well, we get the tokens at least, and we get to Lumbering World Wagon again. We might just die to the Slick Shot though, little by little. Yeah, pass turn. So we need what? 2 more turns? So next turn we can play the Sunmare, and then the turn after that, we should be able to at least stabilize, maybe win. Well, there's a Slick Shot. Not Planet this time, going right to the battlefield. Is it prowess? Opponent's good. They're really fighting the battle over this Lumbering World Wagon, which is kind of hilarious just because we don't care. It is actually, like, it's fine. It's a ramp spell. It's good in our deck, but it is actually not a part of our main game plan at all. It's just kind of a ramp spell. So our opponent putting so much effort into dealing with it is kind of fine with us, as long as our horses and our roaming thrones are around. Like, a Braid could have killed a roaming throne, so I'd much rather have it kill a World Wagon. Although triggering prowess, ooh, another spell. So we're going to take, what, 7 this turn? That is a little more than I was hoping. A little bit more off the top than I would like. Opponent, op number 2. Draws another card, hits us for 7. I mean, we could just draw lifelink. We draw the roaming throne. Well, I mean, I don't think we have a choice other than play the Sunmare and... Oh, wait. I think we're probably dead, aren't we? So our opponent needs 2 spells to win the game. But they can just play Storm Chaser's talent, level up Storm Chaser's talent, get back the opt. So they actually do just straight up have lethal here. I was thinking, well, if all their cards except the Storm Chaser's talent in hand are lands, then we might be fine. But Storm Chaser's talent is 2 spells in 1, so yeah. Opponent triggers a Slick Shot, and yeah. Whew. Well, there's a reason it's the best deck in Standard, or the most played deck in Standard. Let's run it back. We get to be on the play for game number 3, which is kind of huge, so... We have the full combo. Honestly, as long as we hit a land or 2, this hand's kind of actually excellent. Oh, opponent does a little mulliganing down to 6.
Gotta find that Corey Steel Cutter. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to mulligan to find Corey Steel Cutter with that deck. I think that's how it works. Pound it, tap land. Well, that's not a land for us. All right, Magic Gods. We need a land. Any land. Preferably untapped, but we will accept any land. Passing? Well, okay. It is a little tapped, but that is a Lush Portico. That's a land. And we get to surveil Mildigobicon. We actually would like to find even more lands. We just need to hit our lands to play our combo pieces. Opponent gonna do a little opting. Kind of funny how these prowess decks, they almost feel like modern or legacy decks to me. Just like, they're so efficient, they're so cantrippy, so they're so good at finding their pieces. It kind of reminds me of those decks, like an Eternal format style deck. Our deck, very much a standard deck. Actually, it looks kind of like a commander deck. Like, who plays Roaming Throne? And who plays Guardian Sunmare? So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we're even. We got a chance to win this match. Let's just do some plotting. Our opponent's leaving up this mana like they're a Drago control player. They think they're Crim over there. So to get around that, we'll just plot stuff rather than running our Roaming Throne into whatever shenanigans our opponent has. Plus, like, 2 Outcaster Trailblazers, you can set up a pretty big turn if you plot both of them. And we're just, like, somehow under no pressure, which is the greatest thing ever. Like, if our opponent is going to give us time to set up and keep playing Drago, that is great with us. I think we just plot again. Yeah, another Outcaster Trailblazer. Pass the turn. We can leave up our Soul Partition in case our opponent finds a Steel Cutter or something. And then next turn we can have like double Trailblazer into Roaming Throne or something like that. Do we rake it? Are we going to beat the best deck in Standard by putting Roaming Throne on Horse of all things? That doesn't, no, not a Slick Shot. You and your Slick Shots. Well, Soul Partition is a good answer to the Slick Shot. If things get too wild, as long as we leave up 2 mana, that should be able to protect us. Well, here we go. Make a mana. Outcaster Trailblazer. Trigger. All right, opponent. Ooh, drawing Draconic Destiny is kind of annoying. That's one we'd rather have in our deck. Well, Guardian Sunmare. Does our opponent not have any removal? Are we actually just going to draw 3 cards this turn and get 2 Trailblazers and a Sunmare? Wow. All right. Well, that went about as well as it could go. Another Surveil land and a Roaming Throne. No, play the Surveil land. Other than drawing the Draconic Destiny, that was kind of ooh, and we even got to mill a Nature's Rhythm. I feel like we might be in good shape now. So do we win next turn? Probably not because of the Draconic Destiny being in hand. Drawing that is going to make it a little bit awkward, but we still should have a very good turn next turn. Ooh, all right. Fiery Annihilation to take down the Guardian Sunmare. Sure. I mean, that still took like our opponent's entire turn. Opponent had to spend 5 mana to kill our horse, and now we can just get another one. 1, 2, 3, 4. I do want to make sure we leave up 2 mana. I don't want to go shields down with this Slick Shot because it would be a shame with how well this is going if we lose to a Slick Shot show off jank out. So yeah, let's Nature's Rhythm. Harmonize it. Get another Guardian Sunmare. Draw a couple more cards. Wow, we have found many Roaming Thrones. Well, get in for 4. Hit you down to 16. And we gotta discard a hand size. Yeah, we'll just discard a Surveil land. Can you answer the horse again? If not, next turn we probably do. We probably can win, right? Oh, opponent's just going to stock up. All right, well, this gives our opponent a lot of looks at an answer, but it also is taking like half of our opponent's turn, and there's still the ward on the Guardian Sunmare. This might mean we get to get in the attack. Found it. Finds their 2 cards. What could they be? Wow, are they going to die with Slick Shot? Plotted. Opponent is not the most aggressive Slick Shotter. That's for sure. There's a lot of like, my Slick Shots in exile as I cast spells. Okay. Well, play the land, play the Roaming Throne. Do you have an answer? All right, it looks like no. Well, Roaming Throne on Horse, draw 2 cards. We also could put it on Human or Druid to draw 4 cards, but winning the game, I guess, is better than drawing cards, technically. Well, saddle it up. Oh, no, opponent. No, don't. Oh, no. I defended you in game 1 and said everyone makes that mistake the first time. But our opponent, you were the first who has made the same mistake twice in the same match. Oh, the double and the shame scoop. All right, well, that double ward twice in a row, got him.
So what do we learn this week about Guardian Sunmare combo in Standard? And record-wise, the deck did great. We went 11-8 with the deck for a 58% win percentage. It just below Mythic on Magic Arena, which is a super solid record. More importantly, the deck was spectacular, and it actually played oddly well. When you look at this deck, it just looks really weird, right? We have all these random one-ofs. We got a bunch of cards that you don't usually see you play, like Nature's Rhythm and Anointed Peacekeeper. But somehow this unruly pile actually plays incredibly well together. And I'm still just blown away that someone actually built this deck. Like, they figured out how to one-shot kill with Guardian Sunmare. They figured out the Roaming Throne synergy. And then they have all the perfect support pieces with the ramp and the Nature's Rhythm that made it just play really, really well. So I think this deck is actually oddly kind of legit. It felt really good against a lot of the best decks in the meta. The hardest matchups are honestly like Demir mid-range and decks like that. Some control decks that are just like, I'm going to kill all your stuff again and again and again. But it actually held up pretty well against aggro. It did really well against mid-range. And the ward protection is a huge, huge deal. We got to see that throughout our games. That if we didn't have ward on our Sunmares and our Roaming Thrones, a lot of our opponents would have been able to deal with them and fizzle the combo. But thanks to ward and then Roaming Throne, maybe doubling the ward on Sunmare, it actually becomes really difficult for some decks to actually interact with our combo pieces, which makes it so much easier to actually pull it off. So I gotta say, I love this deck. This is one of my favorite decks that I've seen in all of Tarkir Dragonstorm Standard. I was afraid it wouldn't actually work that well, but not only does it look sweet, it actually played really well too. So anyway, that's Guardian Sunmare combo. That's been our deck for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.